Hey guys, Silverlord here, back again with another action figure review of something I was on the fence about for the better part of a year now. I had it pre-ordered, then when I saw initial reviews, I canceled it, mostly because, well, I don't collect statues, you all know that. That and for $100, would have been nice to get something a little bit more articulated, we'll say. But as time gone by, I came to the realization that, you know what, I do actually really want that, so screw it. I bought myself a Christmas present this year, and that is going to be the Krampus 2015 movie Ultimate and or Deluxe Krampus figure by the fine folks over at NECA Toys here. A big mamma jamma makes the Four Horsemen figure Obscure Krampus and the Naughty or Nice Krampus look like the little bitch boys in comparison, because he is massive. He is like 10 inches tall, I think the top of his head, not counting the horns. He's a big boy. And he weighs quite a bit too. And not for nothing, I've always wanted a figure of this version of Krampus ever since I saw the movie back in, I want to say 2016? Something like that. And nobody's made one. I don't know why, but up until now, the only thing I've had that is even close to that live action adaptation is this little Krampus figurine I got from my grandparents during the midst of the pandemic a few Christmases ago. Looks like he's carrying a little lantern or something there. But at any rate, it's not 100% to the movie, but you can definitely see the inspiration as far as the proportions go, the face, the horns, the claws especially. Side. That is I'm going to say that was an Etsy purchase. It's a 3D printed figurine that's been hand painted. It's freaking awesome is what it is, and anytime I get to shout out my grandparents, I'm gonna do it. So with that being said, before I get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Krampus has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with some alt hands. First of all, we have a pair of pointy finger hands. These are a little bit outstretched, still very creepy looking. We also have a more enclosed pointing finger hand. Should be worth noting that none of the nails are attached, it's just the way they're posed. We have an enclosed pointing finger hand. I will say, all these hands, the hinges are pretty stuck. I did have to heat up the hands I used for URL in this video. Like this one, for the snow globe. And this nail is a little warped. So is this nail, but I could always warp that back with a hairdryer. That's not that big a deal, but I had to get the snow globe in this hand. That's where it goes. That's how I plan to display him. At Christmas time, I'm actually going to hold on to this guy's box and probably store him when it's not Christmas time, just because he is so massive, and I don't want anything to happen to the horns on his head or his fingernails. We also have this grip hand, which is holding a Christmas present. I can slip out here and open up. You can see there's a little bell in there, which, not for nothing, the bell frickin' comes out. If you can even see that. It's a little teeny tiny bell. it back in there. Close the present up. And slip this back into this hand. Like I had. There we go. There we go. And like I said, hinges is stuck. Is what it is. But on top of all those hands, he does have a swappable tongue. This one has a bendy wire in it. So you can get some really good curls out of it. Almost like an S shape here I'm doing. I would be careful with this. It's pretty thick rubber, truth be told, but I don't want to go too nuts with it, but there. There's his tongue all curled up, looking kind of nasty. I like the pre-pose one. A, it's not a bendy wire. That'll crack and break and whatever. And B, I can easily manipulate it with a hairdryer. It's not that hard. I will say, I did have to use a hairdryer to get the one I have in his head. The top teeth, the tongue has this little tab here, and it was not clearing, so I had to heat that up and pop that in his cake hole there. But if you want a posable tongue, you do get a posable tongue. Putting that aside. I neglected to mention, along with the bell in the present, you also get a bell that is wrapped like a present. I don't know if this will fit in that box too. I think it will, but you do get that. And then, I still have these in the tray. Because they are so teeny tiny, you get all these little trinkets that you can hang off his, off the chains that are hanging all over his body. I have 6 little bells. I may have lost a couple of those, because when I opened this, they maybe flew all over the place. Check my Instagram for the unboxing video for, I don't know, some shits and giggles about that. I have 9 of these little bone cluster things in the bottom, and then I think I have 4 bigger bone clusters at the top here, and like 2, they look like deer antler things. But you get those, and you also get a placement guide, because, yeah, who the heck's gonna know where all that goes? And if you think I'm going to endure this pain, suffering, and agony, you are sorely mistaken. I ain't got time for that shit, and last I checked, neither do you. So, we are not going to do that. We're just going to take a closer look at this monster of a figure. Making sure my review set is going to stay back there, because I did have him pushed up against it. But as far as articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint. His face is also on a ball joint. You can even turn the tongue a little bit in the mouth when it's heated up. Shoulders are on disc hinges. They will move in and out. Probably move them out pretty far. Yeah, you can move them out pretty far. They will rotate back and forth as well. He does have a hinge in the elbow. He actually has like the double jointed NECA elbow with like the swivel points. So you get a swivel up here, you get a swivel down here, so you can straighten his robe out, which is nice because it is a pretty low hanging piece. You can bend him here at the top joint. He can also bend at this bottom joint. I will say the top joint is pretty stiff on both sides. I mean, it has to hold a lot of weight, so that makes sense, but getting that to bend forward or backward is a bit of a chore. So I'm not going to be able to show that here just because of how awkward this thing is. But rest assured, there is a hinge up here. It's just a little hard to use. And then he has hinge swivel wrists. So they can move up and down, they can rotate, all that good stuff. And after that, he's a solid piece until you get to the feet, where he does have hooves that can rotate. For whatever reason. He's got a peg hole on one of them too, so that's nice. Oh, he's got a peg hole on both of them. So, if anything, I might actually throw him on a couple of McFarlane stands just to make him a little bit more stable while he's on display in the other room on the Christmas shelf. But other than that, he is a chunk of plastic. He is very, very heavy. He's very, very awkward to move around. He's got all these chains. He's got this long-ass beard. Look at that. Look at that face. That is the stuff of nightmares. He's wearing like a dead skin mask. Not to quote Slayer or anything, but he's got like a dead skin Santa mask. It's pretty messed up, dude. Although he is the Krampus. He's a messed up individual, some would say. But yeah, very, very cool. I like this figure a lot. Despite the fact that it's a freaking statue for the most part. Does he have a chain lodged in his armpit there? He does. That's why I wasn't going down all the way. There it is. Let me do this. Whoop. There. That's why I couldn't put that arm down all the way. There we go. And then I gave him what I like to call his little jingle ball right in the front here. It's right where his doink would be. Yeah, I like this figure a lot. Is it a figure of the year? Probably, because I'm super biased towards this version of the character. And I think this figure has a presence that not a lot of stuff I have has. Not for nothing. I bought that blasted Kickstarter Spawn people are still complaining about in this day and age. When we've gotten plenty of Spawns to make up for that. I'm getting a new one, actually. So I figured, what the heck? I'll pick him up. I'll check him out. And boy, oh boy, am I glad that I did. Because he is pretty freaking rad. He's also pretty freaking awkward and heavy, too. So I'm like kind of glad I got this review done. Because it's a bit of a pain in the nuts, if you haven't figured that out yet. But before we wrap this up, I think it is only right that we bring in our two regulars, the Mythic Legions Rothamundibulith, right here. And as you can see, he's just not even... he's small potatoes, alright, compared to this guy. That said, we also have the infamous NECA 11 Spawn. Whoop! That bop his horn there. NECA 11 Spawn, who is not towering over everyone today. He's not even close. That's not even fair. Like, what is that? This Krampus is humongous. He's almost King Kong compared to Spawn. So, yeah. With that being said, though, it is time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from being a freaking glorified statue, for lack of better term, this may surprise you guys, but I thoroughly enjoy this quote-unquote figure for what it's worth. Yes, it can't pose for crap, but it is the 2015 movie interpretation of Krampus, and I don't see anyone else giving us this version of this classic and horrific Christmas character. So I'm gonna say that I like it, and also say that he may be a contender for one of my top figures of the calendar year at 2025, despite the fact that some of you sons of bitches got him last year. I know, but most of us that didn't buy from the NECA store directly got them this year. So therefore, I think it qualifies. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, wait, what's going on? Hey!
Twisted fairy tale horse shit!